Ghost Ship of the Far North, published Sunday, July 17, 1938, Laredo, Texas, through the Laredo Times. Ghost Ship of the Far North. Abandoned to the Arctic ice 7 years ago, the steamer Beichimo is sighted again on her weird cruise to nowhere. Unmanned for 7 years, an ice-sheathed phantom of the Arctic, the world's most famous ghost ship, has flashed into view again, to revive a story as strange as this crewless vessel itself. For only a few minutes was this wraith-like vessel visible to a few Arctic observers before disappearing again to the mists. To continue cruising in uncharted, ice-locked seas around the North Pole, a voyage that can end in only ultimate destruction. 6 times men have seen the ship since the ice first swept her away from civilization in 1931. How far the vessel has sailed, where it has been, no one can even guess. Although the ice apparently carries its prisoner over a similar course each year, a premise borne out by the fact that the ghost has been sighted 3 times off Point Barrow at varying distances ranging from 7 to 110 miles away. Never before in the history of the North, seafaring men say, has a vessel survived more than 2 seasons in the crushing, grinding, shifting chaos of the polar ice. Each time the ghost is seen, the appearance is proclaimed as definitely the last, but the ghost sails on. What is the history of this fantastic craft that has successfully defied the elements for 7 years? This astonishingly vital ghost ship is a 1,300-ton iron steamer Beichimo, owned by the Hudson Bay Company, and for 9 years the only link between the outside and the remote fur trading posts inside the Arctic Circle. In July 1931, the Beichimo sailed out of Vancouver, BC on her last voyage. Deep into the ice-choked western Arctic Sea, she drove to visit 8 Hudson Bay Company ports, discharge supplies, and take on $1 million cargo of furs. Then, with the winter closing in, the race to Point Barrow and open water began. Sailing along with a strong northeast gale astern the Beichimo seemed sure of a 10th victory over the polar pack, at least until a September blizzard struck. Then, at midnight, like a great wall, the ice loomed dead ahead. Frozen in a treacherous ice field that might at any moment crush the hull, Captain Cornwall and his 3 passengers and crew of 16 took to safer ice a few hundred yards from the ship. After wireless told the world of their plight, a plane flew from Nome to rescue the passengers, and the crew settled down to a year's stay on the pack. Friendly Eskimos provided fresh reindeer meat, and with the plentiful stores aboard the Beichimo, little hardship was anticipated. Then a 2-day blizzard swept the little camp. When the storm ended on September 26th, the Beichimo and her $1 million cargo had vanished. Far and wide over the ice, the members of the crew searched, finding no trace of the steamer. An Eskimo hunting seals discovered her fully 50 miles from the camp. Hoping to salvage some of his cargo, the captain unloaded all but $30,000 worth of the furs and transported them over the ice to Point Barrow. When a second salvage party returned to the site, the Beichimo had disappeared again. 5 months later, Leslie Melvin, youthful adventurer, encountered the ship while on a 3,000-mile trip from Herschel Island to Nome. In August 1932, the Beichimo first came drifting off Point Barrow. 30 Eskimos went aboard and were caught by a sudden storm after a wild 10-day ride in the grinding ice, barely escaped with their lives. A schooner captain sighted the derelict again off Point Barrow a year later. A Captain Polson of the American schooner Trader was the last to aboard the Beichimo, encountering the ghost late in August 1935. He found her as seaworthy as the day she had disappeared 4 years previously. Then the Bechima was really given up for lost, until she came sailing back into sight this year.